Woo! What's going on, guys? Enormous Form coming at you guys. Another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Detroit Lions, obviously, and we're going to be talking about the quarterback situation. Um, my guy Jeff Risdon, has a podcast, Detroit Lions podcast. Goes there. He's on a bunch of different things. He's a Lions inside beat writer. He's a guy that knows the ins and outs of the Detroit Lions. He came out on the podcast. I believe it was on what was that on? I think it was on the Detroit Lions podcast, right? He was talking about the Detroit Lions and the quarterback situation. And he said that the Lions are definitely looking hard into the quarterback situation in this year's draft, 2023, coming up in April. Now, when you start talking about Detroit athletes and all the four big ones, hockey, football, baseball, and in basketball, the four majors. Football, I think, is king. I think it's always been king. And then when you talk about the quarterback situation, it's the most polarizing topic or polarizing player that is our quarterback at the time. And it was Matthew Stafford for years. You talk about replacing him. You talk about possibly drafting another guy to back him up. That was a high draft pick. You would get fights. There'd be fights between fans. I got into them. Many people have gotten into him. And this is the same thing. Jared Goff is a guy that, there's like 2 or 3 different types of fan bases for this guy. There's guys that hate him. There's guys that love him. There's guys that really are kind of in between, don't really care too much about the situation. If you can replace him, you can replace him. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. When this first came about, I've talked about this ad nauseum about Jared Goff. I hated the trade at the time. I didn't think it was a good trade. I liked the picks. I liked getting those first 2-round picks. Those 2 first-round picks, and then we got that third, and then we got the throw-in, I think, Goff, and we ate a lot of that money at the time, but liking the draft picks, and I always thought Stafford was a better quarterback. It's just my opinion, and I still think he is a better quarterback. Now, this situation is polarizing. It's just like you have to be really careful with this fan base when you talk about this particular subject. And the Risdon comes out and says this, that the Lions are doing their due diligence and beyond. They're not even doing their due diligence. They are going after every avenue. They're trying to find a quarterback. Now, whether that be to a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round guy, like a Will Levis or an Anthony Richardson or Aiden O'Connell, a Stetson Bennett. And I'm not even saying that those are guys that are going to be drafted. A hooker, a Hendon Hooker, Will Levis. The list goes on and on and on. Hayner. The list goes on and on and on. It could be first to sixth to seventh round. We don't know. But when you talk about it, this fan base gets all jumpy. This fan base gets really, really jumpy. But if you look at the situation, it's going to happen. A quarterback's coming here. Whether we only have one on the roster. Okay, we got one quarterback on this roster. Now, with me, I kind of fall into that category of we need to draft somebody to back up Jared Goff. Like I said, I hated the trade at first. 2021, I was like, here we go. Look how bad he is. He got better at the end. Then he had a great 2022, a top 10 year. He was ranked, I think, 8th or 9th. I still think he's a middle of the road quarterback that had an exceptional year. That's my opinion on the guy. I'm not going to sit there and say that he's an elite quarterback, that he is all of a sudden a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, because he's not, in my opinion. He's still middle of the road who had a great year that has great things around him. Great O-line, had a good running attack, some weapons, a genius offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, and he's not a bad quarterback. He's, like I said, middle of the road. I've always ranked him from 15 to 20. So that puts him basically middle of the road for me. And you can win with middle of the road. I just don't think he can take a team on his back. But anyways, that's just my opinion on him. Now, according to Risden, he's saying that there is an abnormal, he used the word abnormal, they are using every resource they can, and they are looking at quarterbacks at an abnormal rate, going through every avenue, every resource they can, and they're looking at all the quarterbacks. So, he's not just going to make this up. I know guys like, I know these beat writers like to live on clicks and views and all that jazz. They say things, just to get people to watch or listen. I understand that, but it's normal. This is going to happen. Like, you only have one quarterback on the roster. Then you look at the situation like, okay. Then you look at the situation and you're like, okay, Jared Goff. 28, 29, I think he's 27 or 28. I think he's 28 years old, right? He's 28 years old, making about 33 per year, $30 to $33 million per year. Now you're going to start seeing guys like Derek Carr, Daniel Jones from the Giants. I don't know who else is coming up on deals. Burrow will be, but he's going to be a guy that's going to make north of $45, $50 million. He's going to be one of those guys. But you're seeing guys like Daniel Jones, Derek Carr that are lesser talented quarterbacks that are going to be making between $40, $45 million. Now the Giants got to put them in a spot. I follow the Giants. I'm a Giants fan that put themselves in a spot, and they put themselves in a corner, and they might have to go and pay Daniel Jones. Let's say somehow move up or wait and draft a quarterback. It's not a bad quarterback class this year. Now, is there starters after the first 5 or 6? That's kind of up in the air. But there's guys that the Giants could draft. Now they made the playoffs this year. They're down there in the draft. So it's going to be wait and see for me. I don't know what they're going to really do. So Brad Holmes has got some thinking to do. And he starts seeing these teams paying off all these guys like the Carrs and the Daniel Jones of the NFL. And Goff's going to want that kind of money. Now, you have to think to yourself, do you think Jared Goff is worth $40 to $45 million or more, or possibly 50? He's got 2 more years on his deal, but when he starts seeing these guys getting paid, he's probably going to want a deal done sooner than later. Now, we all talk about how this team is kumbaya up. They love each other, unity. They only care about winning. It's nothing to do with money. Every YouTuber, not every, but lots of YouTubers, lots of this fan base think that he's just going to take some friendly hometown discount. Like he's going to be okay with making 35, maybe they're going to give him an extra $2 to $3 million, and he's going to make $35 million a year. And everyone's going to be happy, and we're going to run to a Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to happen. Jared Goff is going to see guys like Daniel Jones, and like I said, the Derek Carrs of the world making all this money, and he's going to want to get paid as well. I think he's a better quarterback than those two. Can't think of anybody else that's coming up for deals. Like I said, Burrow, maybe next year or 2 years, but he'll be coming up soon. But the lesser quarterbacks that are still starters are going to get paid. That's just the way the NFL is. And you have to ask yourself this question, and so does Holmes. Is he worth on north of $40 to $45 to $50 million? Is Goff worth that type of money? I don't know. So this report comes out, and like I said, Risden makes the report. He says it. I trust him. I believe him that they're looking hard into it, that they're looking hard at all the quarterbacks, whether that be a guy like an Anthony Richardson or an Aiden O'Connell down the road. A quarterback is coming to this town, people. A quarterback is coming. Probably 2 or 3, because we don't have any other quarterbacks on the roster. Nate Sudfeld's gone. Joshua Dobbs, gone. Boyle, Blau, gone. Nobody else here. They're all gone. So expect a quarterback or two, maybe even three for camp. You're going to need 3 or 4 guys for camp. So, and he's not saying, nobody is saying to replace Jared Goff, but one's coming. And it needs to be talked about. It's just that this fan base, these Goff truthers, they get real up in their feelings, man, when you start talking about this. And I don't understand it. The greatest thing that the best thing that Holmes can do in this situation is protect the organization. Even if you do pay him $40 to $50 million, whatever you pay Goff, you still, and how that contract is played out or paid out, whatever, the front loaded, back loaded, you're going to have an out for there, but you have to protect yourself, and you got to bring in quarterbacks, plural is coming here, 2 or 3. So expect one to get drafted. Expect one to get drafted. I just don't know when. But it's the smart thing to do is to draft one. And it just, this fan base is super sensitive about it. They think that if you draft one, oh my God, Jared Goff, oh my God, he can't be, it can't be happening. There's no way that they can replace him. It's not necessarily what's happening. They're protecting the organization, protecting the team. If Goff doesn't work out, if somehow he has a bad 2023, let's say he does, and you go get that quarterback, I don't care where you got him, if you go and get him, now you're protected. Now you got a guy in a rookie. Now you got a quarterback on a rookie deal that you can develop. And hopefully Goff can get better. And then you just work from there. You want to keep it on the tracks with Goff, or you want to trade a guy like Goff, or you want to end up trade the guy that you drafted. But you have to protect your butt. You got to protect yourselves, man. And then another thing too, with all this reports that, that they're heavily looking into the quarterback situation. They're using every single avenue, every single resource. It's the most abnormal thing that anybody has seen in a long while, especially in the Lions organization, how heavy they're looking into this quarterback situation. It could be a ploy. Think about it. The Lions have the number 6 pick and the number 18th pick, right? This could be a ploy. This could be the organization putting stuff out there so teams that are quarterback needy come up and possibly make a trade, make a deal. Holmes seems like a very, very smart GM. He seems like a very intelligent man that knows what he's doing. He's not going to make every single right pick or every single right move as a GM, but I trust in the guy. But it could be a ploy. It could be a strategy just to make teams move up and they can trade down and acquire multiple picks. But personally, I think it's real. They don't really have a choice, just the way their contracts are. Goff on 2 more years, no other quarterbacks on the roster. A quarterback's coming. There's a quarterback getting drafted, and then there's a quarterback probably getting brought in for sure, free agency. And I'm not saying that Goff is going to be replaced. But we need backups. And we need a backup to the backup. A guy that can go on the practice squad. Unless they carry 3 on the 53, 54, whatever it is. Which I don't think a lot of teams do. Some teams do, but I believe we don't. I don't think we did carry 3. I don't think we've carried 3 in a long while. Keep one in the practice squad. That's what normally happens. 1 or 2 guys in the practice squad. So it's coming, guys. It's coming. The quarterback is coming. And this organization is looking into it hard. Man, I can't tell you which one it is. I don't think anybody can. Risden made that point too when he was on that podcast. He's like, I can't even tell you who the guys are that they're heavily looking at, but they're looking at everybody. They're looking at all of them, but there's not one individual that stands out to anyone reporting this. And I want to say thanks to Jeff Risden. I want to say thanks to Detroit Lions podcast for putting that out there. It's setting this fan base straight. Now people are going to get all mad and think, "Oh man, Mark, here you go again with your Goff hate." I'm not hating on the guy, man. I'm just saying you need to get a backup here. You need to develop somebody here, a decent backup, not a guy like a Boyle or Blau or a Sudfeld. I was kind of hoping they would have kept Dobbs, but he got plucked off the PS, the practice squad, by the Tennessee Titans. So couldn't help that. I liked him as a backup. I really did, actually. Keep him as a backup, but he got plucked. Played in the damn playoffs for the Tennessee Titans, man. For Pete's sakes. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Good for him, though. But I liked him. Now we got nobody. There's nobody there but Goff. So live with it, guys. Quarterback's coming here to at least develop and at least protect the organization. This organization needs protection in case they don't want to pay a guy like Goff that much money. And they move on, or they pay him and then they ride it out, man. They make that decision, and they have that decision coming, I think, sooner than later. Especially when you start seeing these guys that are lesser talented than Goff getting paid more money than him. Goff might want to wait, or Goff might want to get paid now. I don't think he has a ton of leverage where he can just sit there and sit out. But if he does, we don't have anybody. That's why there's one coming, draft, free agency. That's it, guys. Went on a rant about it a little bit, but expect a QB coming to town. Don't know whether it's going to be the first or the 6th or 7th round. Don't even know. I know this team needs heavy defense. We all know that. That's why we have multiple picks. Multiple in the first, multiple in the second. So who knows what happens? Multiple down the road. Who knows what's going to happen? But expect a quarterback coming. That's it, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for coming in here. Listening to me rant, rave. It's all good. Back, baby. Back from Vegas. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like, comment, share this video out. What do you guys think, man? Quarterback's coming to town, guys. Coming to town, whether this fan base or these Goff truthers want to believe it or not. That's it, man. It's not to replace him. It's to actually help him, help the team down the road, unless it's needed to happen. So let's get this right, man. Let's get this ship righted. Trust in Holmes. One pride, go Lions. Kaboom, baby.